Hi, my name is Kaylee, and this is my Inclusion in the Classroom presentation. Families with disabilities. From a child with disabilities' first breath, they are written off as less than others without them. Parents face grief, denial, guilt, and anger. Life is more difficult for the child and the parents because children with disabilities require more care. However hard this unexpected lifestyle may be, this doesn't mean that the child is unable to thrive as an individual. To set the scene for studying families and those with disabilities in education, I'd like to share a touching video called Anything But Sorry, Leo's Story.
I remember, Chrissy was here, the doctor came around the corner and just said, "I'm so sorry, but your son has Down syndrome." I can see his face so clearly every second of him coming over, and yeah, it was just well, there were 2 points. It was when he told us for the first time, and I was just angry at how crazy it was that he would tell us in that way. My wife is lying down in an OR. She basically had not been repaired, and then obviously the way he told us.
They said to us, there's some options. Couldn't really understand options. What kind of options? So we could put him for adoption? Can you imagine just giving your son and walking away?
I was kind of sorry myself, and I was trying to tell my friends that, that I had some bad news, and that Leo was born, and he had Down syndrome, and that there was going to be lots of complications. I was just feeding off everything that I'd been explained. You don't celebrate it, So, normally you celebrate the birth.
Yeah, my father was a big person in the early days.
Yeah.
We were crying. They came to the hospital because they haven't heard from us, and my mom came, and when I saw that, I was crying, and I said, "Leo has Down syndrome." And my dad opened the biggest smile in the world. He said, "How lucky are you? How wonderful." And he was so upset I was crying. Do you remember? If I ever see you crying, I would get so upset at you. And until today, there's this expression in Brazil that say, for my dad, he's the cherry on my cake, meaning the best part of his life is Leo.
The ending quote that every baby deserves a warm welcome is really impactful because it shows that Down syndrome is not a thing to be upset about. It's something to celebrate and work with and grow as a family together. Negative stereotypes for students with disabilities. Continuing from the video, students with disabilities are negatively looked upon when entering a classroom. From the moment they arrive, they are at a disadvantage. Students with disabilities are thought to be dependent and incompetent. While being handheld throughout the education, students with disabilities are not given a chance to learn like their other classmates and peers. Some common misconceptions in learning. Segregation. First and foremost, students with disabilities are taught separately than their peers in order to limit distractions. However, this isn't beneficial for their learning experience. Students with disabilities want to learn with their peers. They can learn from each other and grow together rather than thinking alone, wondering why they aren't allowed to be with everyone else. Coddling and hand-holding. Mentors of students with disabilities often give the answers to students with disabilities without even thinking. Sometimes they do so without trying to. This leads to the student relying on their mentor to complete simple tasks they don't know they can do on their own. Students with disabilities often are given separate and lower level curriculum than their peers as well. They may be in the same class as another student, but they're not receiving the same education and learning curriculum. Because students are already at a disadvantage with this lower level curriculum, they are not expected to reach the same levels as their peers, and graduation rates are way lower for those with disabilities. Inclusivity in the classroom should be working together with the peers, including and accommodating in all activities. Equal opportunities should be provided in learning. Time to think for themselves, time to think among peers, and equal level curriculum is key to making sure that these students are still receiving quality education. Being diverse going forward. Educating ourselves on what it is like to have disabilities and fostering strong educational environments is the only way we can be more inclusive going forward. What can you do to be more inclusive? What can be done in the classroom? What is one thing you learned today that impacted you differently? What else would you like to know? I have a link to a Google form questionnaire that I will be sending to each and every one of you so that we can further discuss this topic. Thank you so much. Here are my references. Have a great day.